Hey, that's Rich Tizzy Homestead. How the heck are you? Hey, today's barn chat's going to be about global warming and how we can fix it and how we can clean up the environment and get rid of all the excess carbon in the air. Yeah, I've done some research. We've got this figured out. Let's get on with it. Hey, we're back. First thing here is a little scientific fact that I thought you'd. Sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words. So here you go. Yeah, how many masks you need to wear. First number I want to give you in talking about this global warming issue, all this excess carbon. They say that we're putting about 30 tons, metric tons of carbon in the air every year. Worldwide, yeah. That's a lot. Huh? Let me give you a number, though. 1,565. Yeah. 1,565. Write that down on a cocktail napkin if you're at the local pub or wherever, because that's going to be an important number for you. The 1,565 miles is square miles. 1 mile by 1 mile by 1 mile. 1,500 of those. Yeah. Okay. Very important. Very important. Most of your people who are really involved in screaming the loudest about all this carbon. Oh my gosh. All the people that are complaining about this carbon in the air seems to be folks living in cities. You ever notice that? They come out of LA and San Francisco and Seattle and, Portland. The environment. So those folks are the ones who really should take a deep breath and understand that for the most part, they're the ones causing it. Huh? Yeah. I don't care if you got electric cars, you walk everywhere you go and you only eat veggies. You're causing it. Yeah. Let me cover how we're going to do this. Since grass and prairie land, removes carbon out of the atmosphere. Now let's go back to that original figure I gave you, the 1,565 square miles. That is exactly how much new pastures we would have to put into the United States to get rid of all excess carbon being produced in the world, and then some. To the point, it would remove 100 million tons of carbon in the global warming problems right there. The UN actually had a lot of these figures because it's kind of what based their Agenda 21 and so forth on. And I've got the formula how to take care of it. The people who are doing the complaining need to step up and say, I'm going to do my part. Let's look at the ones that are going to have to step up first. New York City needs to be bulldozed, scrapped out, and turned into a prairie. They're about 302 square miles. LA, about 503 square miles, needs to be scrapped out, bulldozed, and planted. Then we got, I got a whole list of cities here. LA, San Francisco, Seattle. No, take them down. Now, Seattle's probably going to try to say, we got trees. Doesn't matter. Trees don't sequester nearly as much carbon as prairie. So you need to go, Seattle. course, New York City, places like Philadelphia, Chicago, Miami, Tampa, St. Louis. Get rid of them. And I didn't put Portland on the list because Portland is going to eventually turn itself back into a prairie all on their own. So, but yeah, there you go. Taken care of. Done. Yeah. You've now sequestered all the carbon that you would have excess that the world produces. The whole world. It wouldn't matter what China and India does. We'll take care of it. Thank you. And I bet some of you are thinking, what are you going to do with all these people? Well, going to have a lot of telephone poles left over, right? Tearing out these cities. So those could probably be cut up into fence posts. Because, of course, any decent prairie land has to have herbivores on it. Great place to raise cattle, sheep, goats, things of this nature. Of course, it'll bring back a lot of wildlife, bears, wolves, things of that nature, because they have a lot of food available. Well, somebody's got to build the fences, okay, and make sure that there's plenty of good water sources and, things of this nature for the animals. Yeah. Well, there's something the city folk can do. Yeah. Put them out there on the pastures with them. Yeah, get them some little yurts, and give them a section of clear trees that they can clear for firewood and things of this nature, and let them live off the land too. Problem solved. You don't need all that diesel trucks running in there delivering food and things of this nature because they're not going to be there anymore. There are going to be cows out there grazing. Okay? Problem solved. Now, let me ask you something. How many is up for it? Okay? Now, you ask most country people, hey, what if we gave you 1,000 acres and all you had to do was maintain livestock on it and live on it? And he's supposed to be doing hand swings. You bet. Let's go. Let's do it. Got the funny feeling most city dwellers aren't. Now, when I say LA, I'm talking about LA surrounding areas. I love San Diego. If you can, talk somebody into letting you move in with them down there, you can go, some of you can go down there. Otherwise, go out and work the land. Yeah. I can guarantee you your whole outlook on life's going to change. You're not going to be quite as liberal as you were. Okay? Gun control is not going to be an issue to you because you're going to have bears and wolves out there around your place. And you'd kind of like to have a way to kill one of them if it come after you. Yeah. And also some of the city dwellers who don't do so well out there might be coming after your stuff too. So you'll need firearms, things of that nature. So it's going to change your outlooks on that too. And you'll begin to see why there are such things as conservatives, because basically we don't want the government taking care of us. We want the government to leave us the heck alone. But because the government's so busy taking care of you, they think we want to be taken care of too. And of course, they involve us in your nonsense. So, there's the plan, and that is scientific proof. We can remove all the excess carbon that the world can produce just by tearing down a bunch of cities. Now, we'll leave some. I mean, you got places like Kansas City and, Denver stays. And I don't know why I didn't. But if you want to take out more carbon, you could do that way too. And, cutting down and burning trees are not as bad because if you convert that land that you cleared from the trees and convert that over to pasture land. Of course, you'll need to use regenerative agriculture techniques. And we need to get rid of the factory farms. Of course, Bill Gates is trying to get rid of all the farms. See, because he wants to sell you his imitation meat. Yeah, it's a GMO kind of a germ that they've mixed in with some genes, and it looks and tastes like meat. But isn't. Okay? And nobody's done any research on any long-term health issues with it. Yeah, that'll be popping out probably in the next 5-6 years. Oh yeah, this stuff make you grow a second head, but go ahead, have another hamburger. And it costs a lot. Idiots. Total idiots. So anyway, there's your problem to global warming. If you really think that carbon, even though science has proven that in times gone by, carbon levels have been far, far higher than they are today, and that the planet has been far, far warmer than it is today. So you just don't want change. You're hoping for no change. Okay, if it gets a lot warmer, yeah, New York might flood. Okay. You know, back during the Ice Age, people built cities in areas that once the ice melted, went underwater. Sunk. Kind of dumb on their part. But they found the remains of them, the buildings. Stuff changes. Mother Nature changes. The planet changes. Okay? Hawaii, millions and millions of years ago, wasn't there. Okay? It was built by volcanoes that finally reached to the surface. So should we not worry about Hawaii at all? Wasn't there before. They're a product of climate change in a sense. So come on, city dwellers. You're the ones biggest worried about this whole mess. Most of us out here in the country understand it's nature, and that's the way nature works. Okay? Y'all seem to be having problems and panicked and, having heart attacks over it because you think that the world's coming to an end because, there might be some melting ice somewhere at some point in time. Of course, come to Tennessee right now, you won't worry about melting ice. We're eventually going to have global warming, and we're going to have global cooling. But if you want to stop it, we got a plan. Yeah, if you're living in New York or LA, it may not be such a hot idea to you. Yeah, you don't have a lot of use for a convertible BMW out on the farm. Okay? You're going to more need a tractor and a pickup truck. Different lifestyle. Y'all need to catch on to that. And guess what? We're not the one putting all the pollution up. Your big buildings are. They blow out more CO gases than you can shake a stick at. And trust me on this, cow farts are not a big problem, contrary to what people try to tell you. And they are to go and they look at feedlots, which we understand as farmers is not a good way to do things. It's profitable, but not really the right way to do things. See, because you're feeding them a lot of grain, and grain upsets their little bellies. It'd be like feeding you beans all the time. Yeah, you'd be putting out some methane yourself. Okay? So, agriculture done right is good for nature. Very good for nature. Cities, bad for the environment. Extremely bad for the environment. So don't you city dwellers sitting there in your concrete castles that are polluting the heck out of the environment. Ever looked at New York City during rush hour? Just cabs alone. Okay, yeah, it's nice, isn't it? The only time we have traffic jams is if it gets stuck behind a tractor. Yeah. So y'all are doing the polluting. I think it's a grand idea if we just tear down a bunch of these cities, give you a place to go, put you out there on that land after we, get it seeded and so forth. Somebody's got to take care of it. You can stay in LA, there just won't be an LA there. Give you a little yurt. Yeah, log cabin, maybe. Let you do your thing. Yeah, no Hollywood. Yeah, the studios I have to go. Yeah, that's going to disappear. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to find something out too. That you, on average, will have more land per person. You won't be living in a little one-bedroom apartment, and that's all you got. So one-bedroom apartment, maybe a little patio. No, you're going to have some land because you got to grow food, man. Yeah, got to grow some food because you ain't got a job to buy food. Yeah, you got to grow your own. But there it is. Facts. Want to remove carbon? Bulldoze the cities. Tear them down. Turn them into pastures. Problem solved. Matter of fact, it doesn't matter if China pollutes. or if India pollutes. We'll be taking out enough carbon. Won't matter. Knock it out of the park. I'll entertain the whatever city mayor wants to write me first and say, well, please make us first. We want to step right up, break out the bulldozers and start right in. Anyway, but yeah, factually, that's the way it works. 1,500 square miles of pasture land would clean up the environment and put us at a very low carbon up in the atmosphere. Probably too low since plants are already suffering from the lack of carbon. Yeah, we're too low as it is for plant life. Yeah, and it'd be fun. I think y'all would enjoy it. Yeah. If nothing else, it'd more unite the nation, because you then would understand why people in rural areas, okay, like their freedom, like being independent, like their guns, and don't have a use for cities other than maybe drive by them. It's kind of like going to a zoo, you know what I mean? Looking at the people in the killer cages. Isn't that cute? Okay, enough picking on city dwellers. But the numbers actually add up, folks. So if they ever get real serious about, oh, if we don't fix this in 10 years, we're all going to die. Well, if you really believe that, then get yourself some jackhammers and sledgehammers and get with it. Faster you can take these cities down and get them growing, faster it's all over. Okay? Yeah. I mean, you know, like LA, 500 square miles. You give everybody a couple of square miles out there, just about. Not really. It means LA'd have a population of a few thousand people. Where are you at now? How many million? Okay, let's move on to some politics. Joe Biden. Man, ain't that a lying SOB? I had never seen a man that's lied that much. He's only been in office for a little over 30 days. And that man has thrown out more lies than you can shake a stick at. And they said Trump lied. I got to tell you, some of the fairy tales I heard come out of Trump's mouth was one thing. And he would spin some yarns. Actually, it was usually the way he talked. People confused him. But even at that, Joe Biden's got to be the worst lying politician I have ever heard in my entire life. Wow. This dude, we didn't have any vaccine whenever we came into office. Liar. Yeah, how did you get your vaccine shots? 2 of them before you even took office. Yeah. No, and on top of that, back in the campaigning days, there is no way that they're going to have a vaccine ready in a matter of months. What was that? You got shot in your arm there, brother. Once again, liar. Make it up as you go. It's pretty bad when CNN on his recent town hall, even though they left a lot out, other people have filled it in. I like Australian news because they really like to hammer his butt. But even CNN had to do up a show on, well, Joe wasn't telling the truth about a lot of this stuff. Such as, for you people that don't research anything that falls out of these people's mouths, the thing about most of the illegals just come in on planes and overstay their visas, and it's not mostly Hispanics. No, not mostly. According to census, according to Border Patrol records, according to government documents in the Washington, D.C. area, those things that Joe would have, if he could still read, would know what he's talking about. 80% of illegals in this country, 80% of the illegals in this country are indeed from South America, Central America, and Mexico. Sounds like Hispanics to me. Could be wrong. 80%. Thereabouts. Between 77 and 80%. Liar. Stimulus checks down in Georgia. Oh, you're going to get them stimulus checks as soon as I get back. As soon as you vote those 2 congressmen in. They voted them in. Or senators. Seen that stimulus yet? Huh? You know, spinning that? They aren't even talking about it. Instead, they got real busy doing things like impeaching a president to throw him out of office after he left office. And that was a big important one, which was most probably unconstitutional to start with, and was a total waste of taxpayer money and their time. There is a whole list of things that they've been working on other than helping the American people out. And there are some people, we see them every week down at the food pantry, lined up, are having real hard times. Is this government caring about that? Now, Congress has got to round up the money. Do you realize that over $1 trillion of the last stimulus bill has not been spent? What's that set aside for, Washington? Who did you earmark that to? $1 trillion. And they're going to try to tell me that they can't put aside and send out some help to the American public. And trust me, what they're talking about in the stimulus check would be a little help, might put some groceries on the table, and might even pay a light bill. But that's it. Democrats was saying back during the election, when we get in, everything will settle down in the world. Okay? Yeah. India and Israel are up in arms over us. Israel's getting ready to go to war with Iran, because they know with going back to that treaty is problematic for them, big time. India, same way, with China and so forth. Biden went over to Europe on how they were going to just hold hands and sing Kumbaya, and Merkel and the French, whatever his name is, pretty much kicked his butt to the curb. Even Europe doesn't want anything to do with him, and he's threatening Putin and them. Like, they've been doing stuff that's all that wrong. And Europe is a little ticked about us and is going raising Cain in Syria, because guess what? That pipeline they're wanting to run through Syria is supplying natural gas to Europe. So Europeans aren't crazy about all that. Canada's pissed off, pardon my language, but they're kind of ticked off over the pipeline getting shut down. Yeah, most of the world pretty much thinks you Democrats elected a POS for a president. They'd prefer Trump back. And, of course, Joe has admitted, and I wished he'd have said this more out on the campaign trail, that he's more worried about corporations and how they're doing and the global economy as the U.S. and the people here in this country. I thought we were supposed to have a government of, by, and for the people. I know, we don't. That's some fairy tale. It's right out there with, like, the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus. Okay. This is not a government for the and by the people. It's by the people. We get to pay all the bills. Okay, so yeah, in that sense, it is by the people. But as far as for us, no. They could give a crap about the American people. This country has never been so divided. Okay, and with what these people are doing, they haven't seen how divided this country can get yet. And it's really looking strong, folks. Like there may come a time shortly where their states are already setting up the Second Amendment sanctions. Luckily, I live in one. A lot of other states are stepping up. They're also talking about, no, we've about had enough. As that comes about, if states start filing for succession against the government, at that point in time, we decide whether it's going to be peaceful or not. It's going to happen. Unless this government decides it wants to pick up that Constitution and read it and go, whew, man, we're nowhere close. I had answered a comment out on one site because a fellow was asking, how do these Democrats and a lot of politicians, Republicans too, go in with a less than $200,000 a year salary, become multimillionaires about overnight? I wrote him back as, well, if you did it, it would be called insider trading. If they did it, it's called being a politician. See, because it's legal for them to do that. Yeah, they passed a law quite a while back, about a decade ago, taking away their right to do insider trading. Okay? And then kind of one of those things is they let that sit there for a couple of months and then slipped into another bill going, never mind. So your politicians can do insider trading, which makes them a lot of money. Okay? Because they know what's going to happen to a particular company before that particular company knows what's happening to them. Insider trading. On top of that, something you might want to check into, and if you really dive into it, you will find a lot of fascinating stuff that Congress passes a lot of laws that apply to you and to me that does not apply to them. Now, if you made $200,000 a year to do a half-butt job like these clowns do, get every holiday off and then some, yeah, free barber, they pay your barber too, shine your shoes, press your clothes, serve you up lunches. No employer in their right mind to do it, except for us. We do it for them. Provide them with private jets to fly all over the world. Yeah, we do that too. Fly back and forth to home. Yeah, we do that too. If you're in a position of power. Republicans and Democrats. I did have a subscriber after I'd made the statement I'll never vote Republican again. And even if, brought up if Donald Trump ran, I might vote for Donald Trump, but I would not vote down ballot. If he ran but Republican, I might re-vote for him. But I wouldn't vote down ballot. I want to see the Republican Party dead. Dead. Gone. And if Democrats had a lick of sense, so would you. You'd want to see Republicans and Democrats gone, and we can start afresh. And we're back to the race stuff again. We're off to the races with all the racial stuff. Let's get in there and gotta get them people divided. They're starting to talk to each other. We can't have that. Are we a divided nation? As far as the people? Yeah, a little bit. If you're living in a big city, your culture and my culture is different. Okay, if you were raised in the north and I was raised in the south, our cultures are a little different. State to state, you have the same thing. You have a little different cultures. That's what this country was all about. We were a bunch of nation states that decided to band together. And it took some doing to get all the states to agree to a union. The reasons for us banding together disappeared a long time ago. It's getting to be that time, folks. We no longer have a government that's representing the people. Understand that. They don't want to hear it. Basically because I think it was, and with the Time magazine report, with their little bragging they did on that, I think what they're hoping for is that this is all water under the bridge, because if it ever gets really audited and truth comes out, there is going to be just a boatload of people going off to a federal prison. And a lot of them will be easy to get a hold of because they're sitting in federal offices right now. This is written, Jesse Homestead. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Hope y'all have a great week. And we'll talk to you real soon.